Hey students, this is a short video on how to do assignment 4.1. This is kind of complicated and it's based on 2 or 3 different documents, but if you'll read through this it should be pretty clear to you about how to do this. What you're going to do is read the information here about FTE cost based on the various programs. I've got lots of handouts to give you, and you're going to need to do this for each of the students that I give you. At the bottom of this chart you'll see a table for a high school student, an elementary 5th grader, a middle school severe profound student, and a elementary student. So what I'd like for you to do is start off by looking at the example. Now this QBE formula says that it's going to give $2,650 per student, and that's your basic rate that they're going to give. Now each year they decide what that number is going to be. Some years it might be higher than that, some years it might be lower. This is based on a number I got from 2005 or 6 or 2009 I think it was. So it might change a little bit, but that doesn't really matter in this exercise. What you do is, the first thing you have to do is divide it by 6 segments, because that's what they tell us to do in regard to finding out how much money is brought in for that segment. Now this student here, if this student were in a high school 9 through 12th grade math class, they would only get a weight of 1. Now where did I get the weight of 1? Well, let me show you that. In this document I've got the program weights. You'll see the program weights right here, and they're different depending on the type of program. A kindergartner student carries a little bit like a 1.6 weight, where there's your basic weight right there. 9 through 12th grade would just bring the basic weight of 1, which I said was $2,698, which you see right here. So that's the basic weight for a high school student. Now each of them can be a little bit more, like for instance the kindergarten brings in 2 times that amount, and then it's 1 point, you just multiply this figure here times the amount and then divide it by 6 and you can determine the weight. Now sometimes it changes, so you have to be careful and look at that carefully as you do the figuring. Now let's go ahead and take the first one that I did for you. Alright, it was the basic weight for 1,000 was $2,698, and we divide that by 6, so we find out that each weight carries a 1 for the basic class. So he takes Math 1 on the first segment, the second segment he's in English 2, the third segment he's in PE 3, World History 4. Then watch what happens in this change right here. Then he goes to vocational computers, and he brings in a little bit more. Now where did I get that figure from? Well, if we look over here at that chart again, that chart tells me that vocational laboratories brings in 1.1847. So I take that figure and I put it right here, and I multiply the times the 449.75, and I get $532. So that will be the total. If I wanted to take these figures here and add all the segments up, I could come up with how much this student is going to get. I could also add all these weights plus this right here and multiply it by the same figure and get the same thing. I should get the same number either way I do it, but I wanted you to break it down into the segments to see how much each segment is. Now we as principals, and usually someone in the school, is going to determine what, for every single student, what their classification is and what their schedule looks like and what class they're in during that segment, and how much weight do they bring, or how much funding do they bring based on the formula. Now here's another one that we're going to do, that is a girl named Raleigh. She attends middle school, and she's at a special middle school because this is a middle school that really follows the middle school concept, and because of that they get more money. Now if it's just a regular middle school that doesn't have the teen concept, then it would not bring as much money. So they're really pushing middle schools to do the middle school concept. Well, notice on this chart that I have right here on program weights, there's 2 kinds of middle school students. There's one that brings in a little bit more money than the other. And this is the one that follows the definition of a true middle school, so they're going to bring in a little bit more weight than this other one. So let's go back to our chart and look where I got them. That's where I got them. This is a true middle school, but it's just a regular math class in segment 1, segment 2, regular language arts. When I multiply that times the base salary of $2,698, I get the breakdown of what it would be, $504.34. Now notice she has a little bit more right here for this one because she's in a gifted science class. So a gifted class, if I look over here at the chart, you'll find that gifted education is category 4. Now how do I know that? Well, because there's another category that you can look at. It breaks down these special education categories and tells you what they are called. And so gifted education falls under special education category 6, and it brings in 1.6673. So I take that figure and put it here and multiply it times the 504, which is the basic, and I get $749. When I add those all together, then I should come up with how much that student is bringing in for that school year. Now, that's how you would do that. Now, this one, you're going to be doing Charles, who's an 11th grade student, and then you'll do him for chemistry, band. The only thing that's going to be different is that he's in 2 gifted classes. So you're going to have to figure out what would be a gifted classroom. What does it bring for a high school student? Notice that it's going to be based on the 6 category, 1.6673, times what a high school student brings per segment, which is 449. So he's going to be multiplied times that. So 1.6673 times 449.75, and you would put that into his gifted class where he goes right here. Now for Lori, an elementary school student, now everything's different except she has a disability category 1, and that would be under, I've got a place where you can find those categories, and it's in this chart right here. Let me bring that up. And it's called special education weights. Here's the special education weights right here. So see, if they're in category 1 and it tells you what it is, or category 2, and category 3 brings it out. Category 4 is the most severe, profound students, and it tells you right here they might be like deaf, blind, or visually impaired and blind, or all kinds of major problems that they might have. So that would give you that much more funding that you would get per student per that classroom. All right, now let's see. That girl was in the let's see what it was. Okay, she's in category 1. So category 1 is right here, 2.394. So that's how I'm going to use that chart to find out what category, and it might be just a learning disabled or a speech. I think she goes to speech. So we're going to look right there, and she goes to speech or a category 1, then she goes to math for a category 1. So her weight would be a little bit different. It'll be 1/6 times the weight of the base of what that would be. Then she goes back to regular language arts, regular music, and then you would find the total. Then you're going to do it for a severe profound student, find out what their weights would be, and then a elementary student who's in an early intervention program. That chart that I give you will tell you all the information. You've just got to bring the information together, do the multiplication of what the weight would be per day by 6 segments, and then figure out what they get for that segment. All right, hope that helps.